Take it from a vet, that's a rookie ass mistake. Ayy.
Okay, I'm giving you a list of things that you should expect from any guy that you're dating or even talking to. Number 1, the 2-week rule. They should take you on a planned date within the first 2 weeks of talking. Because if they're truly invested, they won't want to waste their time or your time. And they will plan something because they want to impress you. Number 2, they will treat you the same in all different situations and in front of all different people. Number 3, a very simple one. They should come to the door when they pick you up. We're not doing any of that texting here shiz. I think this is 4. I've got a long list. Again, an easy one. They'll want you to text you when you get home to know that you're safe. 5, they will naturally stop liking and commenting on other girls' posts. Also, remove pictures with any ex-romantic relationships from their social media. Numero 6, you will never have to compete with time over boy time. 7, they'll introduce you to their family within the first couple months. Family's a big deal. 8, they will sincerely take interest in the things that make you you. Number 9, they will be protective, but not crazy. They do not own you. 10, we're almost done. They will respect your boundaries, mainly sexually. 11, you should never have to question their loyalty or their feelings. And very last one, this one's bonus points. It's my favorite thing that my fiance does. Switching sides when you're holding hands so that they're the closest to the road. Gives me butterflies every single time. Don't forget your worth. We want that old type of love. Don't take any bullshiz. If they want to, they will. The end.
I have to say, not everything she said is bad, but it seems like what she's really looking for is a simp at her feet. A man who does all that in less than 3 months is a man who reeks of desperation. And as any experienced man knows, that doesn't work. If you look too hungry, you don't eat. I always say, relationships or situations go in the direction set by the man, at the pace set by the woman. Never try to make things official too quickly if she's not pushing for it. Don't try to make her your girlfriend too soon, because that'll scare her off. If you lead calmly, you'll win her over.
You got to train men the same way that you would train children, and you need to focus on positive reinforcement. That means you don't react if he does something you don't like. You remove your attention. You remove your awareness from him. He doesn't exist anymore. You go back to whatever it is that you want to do. When he does something good, it depends on what it is that he did, okay? If he bought you flowers, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. They're lovely. You don't make a big deal out of it. This is normal. He buys you a car. Oh my God, you take such... I love you. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm going to take you home. Okay? I'm going to ride you too. Okay? You need to literally have levels of reaction. When he does something that you don't like, let's say, I don't know, he said he was going to plan a date and he didn't do it. When he reaches out to you, you don't respond the way that you usually would respond. You're not mean. You're not rude. You're not disrespectful. If he's like, hey, sorry, I got busy and whatnot, or he's pretending that like whatever, you just, first of all, you give it time, space. You don't respond immediately. Then after that, you go ahead and you say, hey, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. All right. Blah, 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 blah. I gotta go get to a call. Okay. I'm gonna go hang out with my friends. I gotta go take care of myself. I gotta go cook. I'll talk to you later, okay? You don't go off on them. You remove your attention. He calls you. What's wrong? Oh, nothing. I'm sorry I didn't. Oh, it's fine. Okay, well, can we reschedule? That'll depend. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of not interested now. Like, you said that you were gonna plan it, and you didn't. It's just unattractive to me. So, I don't know. Right now, I'm not feeling it, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do me. All right? Now they're like, what? Fuck, how do I get her attention back? Okay, if you're not exclusively together, first of all, no boyfriends, okay? I can go into that. Boyfriends are a scam. If you're not together, then you really owe him nothing. Okay, go get you another man. Go talk to your other man from the roster. Go out with your friends. Go take your cat out. Go take your dog out. Do whatever. Remove your attention. He's not the center of the universe. You should be repulsed and unattracted to a man who does not follow up. You should always think, when he does things that I like, I'm attracted to him. When he doesn't do things that I like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. That's unattractive to me. I will literally text that to men.
This woman is a gold digger, extremely manipulative. That whole, "today I reward you if you do what I say and punish you if you don't" thing is classic narcissistic behavior. And that narcissistic mindset is what drives many modern women. The problem is that a lot of insecure men fall for this game. But a man who respects himself walks away the moment he smells manipulation without looking back. Because she makes it clear, "I don't owe you anything." That's why she doesn't want a boyfriend, because a commitment would mean loyalty. She doesn't want to belong to one man. She wants to be available to everyone. And when a woman talks like that, she's not showing independence. She's showing that she's not wife material, just something temporary.
Women.
Here are 3 signs you have a minimum effort boyfriend. The third one is kind of a weird one, but trust me, it's a sign. Number 1, you have to plan everything all the time. They're happy to go along with whatever you do, but they're never the one initiating plans, coming up with date ideas, or just generally suggesting anything. His love language is convenience. He'll do something sweet for you only if it fits into his schedule. He'll pick you up if it's on his way. He'll buy you a treat if he's already at the grocery store, but he'll never really go out of his way to do anything for you that you specifically want. He'll just do things that work with what he's already doing for himself. And the third one is he's super emotionally available and open when you get upset or threaten to leave him. This is like the most toxic cycle ever, but he's emotionally unavailable and closed off. You tell him that you're not having it. Suddenly, he's the best boyfriend ever for like 3 days. Deep conversations, emotionally available, and then he goes back to normal. You know that he can do it. He can be emotionally available, open and honest. He's just choosing not to. Minimum effort. So I need to know, if you've ever had a minimum effort boyfriend, what were the signs?
Oh, hell no!
The so-called bare minimum man they talk about is nothing more than a man who's busy, focused on his work, and building something. The problem is they want the impossible, a top 20% man, successful and hardworking, but also a guy with no life, glued to his phone, available 24/7 to give them attention. That man doesn't exist. The money they enjoy doesn't fall from the sky. It comes from hours of effort, business, and discipline. And that's where many of them fail. They can't handle the process. They leave the man who could have given them stability because he was too busy and end up in the arms of Chad, the guy texting them all day. The same Chad who's only in it for fun, gets them pregnant, and then disappears. That's the reality. They choose instant gratification, even if it ends in disaster, instead of walking alongside a man on the path to success. And in the end, they lose the best thing they could have had, just because they lacked patience.
What men won't tell you, but mommy will. Based on 37 years of dating and dating horribly. We just got to 50K. I'm a little bit over now, but you guys asked for a special series, and here it is. Only in this past year have I learned to date correctly using all my previous experience and becoming, well, evil. And the boys love it. So part 1. First thing I'll tell you is this, and I want you to take this with you to your grave, girl. Women will sacrifice pleasure in order to please their man. Men will sacrifice their entire family for their pleasure. And if you don't believe me, ask any SA worker, okay? Ask any midnight ballerina. Men will go in there risking everything, their money, their time, their family, for a few hours of their pleasure. While your little tush is sitting at home, taking care of the kids, cooking, cleaning, being his freaking assistant, okay? No. This is why I'm always telling you to be selfish, like a man. If he's not paying your bills, that's not your man. If he's going out for all hours of the night, that's not your man. He will sacrifice everything, okay? If he really wants to be with you, including his pleasure. But most men won't do this, so you shouldn't either. I love you. Come back for part 2.
I don't think that experience is doing you much good because you're still single at 37. So clearly, something's not working. I agree that a man who sacrifices his family for pleasure is a fool. But this whole narrative of always blaming men is the easy way out. What you never mention is that the only constant in all your relationships is you. And the more you blame others, the more obvious it becomes that you haven't learned a thing. At 23, you could afford those mistakes. At 37, you can't. Now, all that's left is bitterness and a permanent spot on the wall. Because the wall doesn't forgive.
All right, here's a list of men that you should never date. And I'm going to make this kind of short without much explanation. Number 1, the ugly man. Okay, if you're a pretty girl, don't go for the ugliest man. They're not going to treat you better. In fact, they're going to treat you much worse. Because men have egos, and they're going to make sure that you are aware of that ego when they know that you are out of their league. Okay, number 2, the old man. If you are not above the age of 25, do not date old. They are not more mature. And you are not more wise beyond your years and need a older man. Okay, because if an older man was mature, he'd be dating somebody his own age. Number 3, tall men. Tall doesn't, they never did anything to get that height in their life. Okay, tall doesn't mean anything in this world except they're tall and attractive looking. They're usually very boring, actually. Yeah. Number 4, the man who's always working on themselves. Okay, that's code for I'm broke. Okay, they're broke. Number 5, they have a bad relationship with their mother. Those men are cheaters.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
Brothers, so because I'm tall, does that mean I don't deserve my height just because I didn't do anything to earn it? Seriously, where do women come up with this stuff? The only thing we can take from everything she said is that she's had a pretty diverse menu of men since she was young. At least she's tried a bit of everything. Now, here's my question. If she's ruling out the tall guy, the older guy, the unattractive one, the man working on himself, and the one who doesn't have the best relationship with his mom, then what kind of man is she even looking for? The neighborhood drug dealer? Some woke guy? What's the next item on her menu? Because she just ruled out around 60% of men. And that kind of talk reveals the real problem. It's not that there's a lack of men. It's that there's an excess of unrealistic expectations.
Spilling all of the detailed tea on that breakup and how it changed my life. So here's another one, why not?
So I was once in a year-long relationship when I was very young with a narcissist. Someone who love-bombed me, manipulated me, trauma-bonded with me. Obviously, I didn't know what any of that was at the time. I've spoken about this briefly before, especially in my book, Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers, which is right here. So I want the point of this story to be a little bit different. The point being, when I was with this person, I was so infatuated with him and I placed him on a pedestal and I thought he was the coolest person in the world. So not only did I alter parts of myself to make him want to be with me more and make me seem more attractive, but I centered my entire universe around him. My most exciting plans of the week was going on dates with him. My most exciting part of the day was being on the phone with him. Even if he was the most perfect fucking person in the world, I should not have been doing all of that. Nobody deserves that from you. That is not necessary. And this is why I always say it's so important to have your own world and to have your own things that you love outside of your partner, regardless of how amazing they are, even if you guys are married and have kids. Because especially in that relationship with that person, my story ended in 2 years of trying to get over that person and not being able to because I made them my entire world. And in a year where I could have been doing more self-discovery and more self-love, everything about me was tied to another person, and that person wasn't even good for me. And again, it's not about whether the person is good for you or not. Sometimes breakups happen so unpredictably. Sometimes you need some time alone. Sometimes you're just not aligned with where you are right now. And so you always need that safe space to return to no matter what. That's why I make it such a priority now to still go on my solo dates. I literally solo travel even though I've been with my partner for 3 years now and we live together, because I learned the hard way that the most important relationship you're ever gonna have in your life is the one that you have with yourself. And that is exactly why I wrote a self-love book called Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers. Because once I started doing that for myself and taking myself on solo dates and loving myself and pouring that energy that could have been spent obsessing over someone, instead obsessing over myself, I've become more confident, I've become smarter, wiser, I've leveled up my career because of it. My life is just so much smoother and more easygoing. And yes, I have the relationship, but this means I'm no longer attracting toxic people into my life, bad influences, toxic friendships, because I know who I am, what my standards are, and I will never, ever, ever expect even 1% less.
I do not want husband yet, but I do not want boyfriend that will not be husband. Because what is the point of boyfriend if not husband? But I do want date because date fun. But I don't want date and slip slop because slip slop and date equals evil man. And I do not want evil man because equals crazy me. So what to do? What to do?
Excuse me, guys. I had to confess something. I think you're gorgeous. What's her name?
I don't think she wants to talk to you.
Who the fuck are you, bitch?
You're interrupting us.
Next time I'll just come with a donut. Excuse me, I just crossed the street to tell you how beautiful you are.
Thank you.
That a sign?
No, she's married and has a baby.
What?
She's married and has a baby.
Do me a favor. Shut the fuck up.
You want to pay for all the bills?
Nah, it's okay. Don't worry. I didn't ask you. Excuse me. I had to confess something. I think you're gorgeous.
Thanks. Oh yeah, she
Yeah.
is. She's had a boyfriend for like 5 years.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was talking to her, not you. I know you have a boyfriend.
I got a boyfriend. No. I'm letting you know she has a boyfriend.
Oh, but she can talk for herself.
I'm reiterating what she just fucking said.
All right, relax. You don't get that. You don't get to talk, okay? You're too.
I absolutely do.
You already look big enough. Don't talk big too.
Stop it. Get some help.
Why is it always the ugliest woman who responds? No one was asking you anything. Some girls answered politely, and then you jump in and interrupt. Especially the one who says she has a kid and wants to pay child support. Girl, she's your friend. Why would you say that in public? Jealousy is something that eats away at the soul, brothers. As for the first woman who doesn't want to swipe, what can I say? The wall is waiting for her. She wants too much and isn't willing to put in any effort. That whole idea of wanting a boyfriend with husband potential is basically looking for a guy to keep her friend zone going, with benefits, until something better comes along. In other words, the man who will be the road and the journey, but never the destination.
What's your age?
28.
Are you single?
I am.
What problems do you run into dating men in Chicago?
They're broke.
They're broke.
They're broke.
Why is a man having money and being rich important to you?
Like, I'm working towards a certain lifestyle. So, like, being someone who's not working through that towards a certain lifestyle is unattractive. I'm a child of immigrants. So, like, all I know is hard work. It's kind of, like, disappointing.
Surely you don't think relationships revolve only around money?
They absolutely shouldn't. But I think both partners should work equally as hard. I think everybody should, like, match up with their partner in terms of, like, what you're willing to give and what you're wanting out of life.
But level with me, right?
I'm leveling.
Do you think if you met a multimillionaire that he would look at you and go, I'm ready, it's just her? Or is he going to have his pick of the litter and, do what he does?
Depends. Like, you can be a multimillionaire, also have and be a shitty person and attract nobody. Like, it depends.
But do you think the millionaire is going to give you more time or the guy who's broke and still building?
Depends. I feel like those have nothing to do with each other. Like, the amount of effort someone's willing to put in and what they make has nothing to do with each other.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Women say, I don't want a broke man. But do men want broke women? These days, everything is expensive. Even couples with kids both have to work. But the modern woman doesn't want the process. She wants the result. She doesn't want the man with potential. She waits for him at the finish line, already accomplished. And what does she bring? Just her presence. Then they get mad when those successful men marry younger women. Of course, because younger women bring freshness and femininity. Meanwhile, the modern one only brings debt and attitude. The truth is, they don't want to build anything. They just want the benefits. And when they wait too long, the wall catches up to them. The wall doesn't forgive.
I just have to say, I remember why I stopped, dating, actively dating on Hinge and all those fucking stupid apps and just, putting myself out there. Because guess what, okay? Everyone has said, no, the women need to, do more these days. Okay, that's already, fucking weird to me, but I guess. So I have been, all right? I've been meeting people. I've been going on the dates. I've been giving people the benefit of the fucking doubt. But you know what I'm sick of? Giving men the benefit of the doubt. I think giving men the benefit of the doubt is a fucking excuse to keep you in something that you know is not right for you and you know that you deserve better, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Why? Seriously, I really believe, and I'm really going to hold out for the kind of love or, you know, my person to like show interest right away, to not be a fucking douchebag. And when I'm like trying to keep conversation going, and you know, I'm setting you up to ask me a question and you don't, like, how much more can a woman give? Okay, we're done. Okay, so the men that are just like sitting back and like, the women should take charge and do this, like we are, and you're still being pussies. So what do you want from us? Seriously, I'm so over it. Like, match with a few people on Hinge, and like I'm seriously setting them up to ask me questions, and they're just not. They're just coming back with statements like, "Okay, cool, like I'm done." Like, what do you want? What are you doing? Why are you here? What are you doing on this fucking app? And what the fuck are you doing liking me? And then not like asking me questions and like pretending like you actually were the one that liked me. Like, oh my God, I crept your Instagram and I wanted to see if you were a fit for me. And I was apparently a fit for you first. So what the fuck is going on? Why am I trying harder? No, I'm fucking sick of it, y'all. And I feel like all women, like, stop. Don't listen to these fucking idiots on the internet saying like, no, the women have to try harder. No, we are. You guys are just not getting fucking hints. And I don't know how to fucking tell you that you guys are really kind of a lot of pussies. You're being little pussies. No, like, grow up. Seriously.
Brothers, this woman's frustration isn't about men, it's about loneliness. After 30, the female's psyche changes. More anger, more resentment, more demands. She herself admitted to being 33 in a previous video, which means she's been feeling the wall breathing down her neck for a few years now. And the wall is heavy. When a man wants a woman, he goes after her, pursues her, shows interest. If he doesn't, it's because he's not attracted. Period. But these women fool themselves into thinking that Chads should reciprocate just because they decided to choose them. They don't get that those men have more options, better and younger ones. They're not the only ones with the right to choose. The freedom to choose exists for men too. And when he doesn't choose you, it's not cowardice, it's preference.
Women.
All right, we're back to Dating in Denver Chronicles. Have you ever been on a date where the guy just literally doesn't ask you a single question about yourself? Or if they do, it's like very, very rarely. So I've been on 4 dates with this guy, and he never asks me a single question. I don't fucking get it. Like, I don't get it. Like, is it that you're really self-absorbed? Is it that you don't like me that much? Is it that you're just freaking high? Or is it that you just don't understand how to navigate socially? I don't know. Whatever the issue is, it's not that difficult, okay? If you don't know what to ask, don't worry, I got you. I'm a good conversationalist. Like, I can keep the conversation going. I can ask the questions. I can spoon feed you these questions, okay? So if I ask you, hey, how many siblings do you have? All you gotta do is answer and then respond with, what about you? What about you? Easy. What about you? 3 words. 3 words. I don't get it. It's not that hard to just ask, what about you? After someone asks you a question. What about you? Anyway, I've been on 4 dates with this man. He's 40 years old. I don't know how he made it this far in life without asking, what about you? How did I even make it on 4 dates with this guy? It's a great question. He's really cute, but it's not going to go anywhere.
It's because of things like this that I always tell men, learn how to sell. Read sales books. One great book is The Art of Asking Questions. Honestly, when it comes to dating and dating apps, knowing how to ask open-ended questions makes a big difference. Questions that can't be answered with just a simple yes or no. I also always tell guys to be the ones leading the date. You do that by asking, by building the conversation around what she says. Most women enjoy talking, and it's much better when they're the ones talking and you're the mysterious one.
So I just got home from a date where, I mean, it went okay. It was whatever. But he bought my dinner. He walked me to my car, and we're standing there. And I said, thank you so much for dinner. And he said, yeah, I wasn't sure how that was going to go. It was all in one check, so I just paid. And I was like, well, were you wanting me to pay for my half? And he's like, yeah, that'd be great, actually. And sent me his Cash App as we stood there. And then asked if I would like to go out again tomorrow. Absolutely not, sir. Is this what I have to look forward to?
Personally, I believe first impressions are what really matter. And I can say that with 90% of women, if you don't pay for the first date, there won't be a second one. That's just how it works, whether you like it or not. That's why I always recommend starting with a coffee date. It's cheap, quick, and enough to gauge interest. If it goes well, then you can invest more in the second one. I say this because, honestly, if you're inviting someone out, it's because you like them. You probably want the date to go well, so start smart.
Longer I can stand being single, and it's not because I'm just super lonely. No, I'm pretty peaceful on my own. It's not because I'm like terrified of my eggs drying up, and I mean I do want kids. That is a part of it. And it's not because I see all these other couples and I'm like, oh, I want that. It's not because I need someone else to help me pay the bills. I do. I really do. But none of the typical things that you would think of are the main reason that I don't know how much longer I can be single. The main reason? I'm tired. I can't go out anymore. I want to stay at home with a good book. I want to stay at home and have a nice little movie night. I want to cook dinner, stay in. I don't want to go out. But to meet people, I have to go out. Like, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to have a nice little night in every single night. I want to be in bed by 9 p.m. Feel me. My social battery has gone way down since hitting 30. I can't keep having these same conversations. It's painful. And I'm tired. My social battery running out, and I don't know if I can have enough to find somebody.
Men say about women in their 30s. They come with baggage, and they're no longer the humble woman you knew in her 20s. But I have to say they're right. Even though many feminists demonize men, most married women know how good it is to have a partner who supports you. Having someone at home to talk to, someone who helps you, someone to laugh with, not having to go out if you don't feel like it. Even though it seems like most women love to party, in real life, many would rather stay home watching movies, just enjoying their space. Just look at how they dress when they're at home, how comfortable they are, even wearing their man's clothes. But feminists turned that into something negative, and now the wall doesn't forgive.
This is probably a hot take, but I don't really care. So I think marriage is no longer going to be a thing 10, 20 years down the road. Marriage specifically only benefits men and the patriarchy. I mean, I've seen it, I've witnessed it, I've observed it from friends, family, strangers, the internet. 9 times out of 10, the man is the one who benefits from being married. 9 times out of 10. I mean, women already aren't wanting to get married anymore. I know, I don't. So, yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before it's no longer mainstream. And if you're a man cheating on your wife right now, get your shit together. I literally witnessed this last night. This guy came up to me. He goes, look at that guy over there. He's married. He had his ring on too. Most of them don't even do that. He had his arm around this girl and he goes, that's not his wife. And I was like, that's not good. And he goes, what should I do? I go, tell his wife. Tell his wife. Who gives a shit? She should know. So yeah, this is not the first time that I've seen a married man cheating on his wife in public. This also happened earlier in the year. We were out at a bar for St. Patty's Day. A girl came up to us that was out with her guy friends, both married, both chatting it up with every single girl in the bar. So like, men, get your fucking shit together. It's embarrassing. And for anyone who might be rolling their eyes right now, your top 5 friends are a reflection of you. So if your friends lack integrity and are cheating on their wives, and you're not holding them accountable, that tells me everything I need to know about you as a person. So, you know, why would you even want to be friends with someone who lacks integrity?
The double standard is massive. So, why would a married woman want to be friends with a woman who hates men and marriage? She accuses the guy of cheating on his wife, but conveniently forgets there was also a woman involved. On top of that, the whole "if someone did it, it'll happen to me" mindset is exactly what paralyzes people. This woman based everything she said on someone else's experience. She didn't even know the dynamics of that relationship. She just assumed the man was the bad guy. But when a woman cheats, betrays, or files for divorce out of boredom or because her husband gets sick, what do they say to her? That her husband was the one benefiting? Give me a break.
Whenever women talk about patriarchy and gender-based violence, a lot of men will flock to the comments and say, actually, women treat men worse than men treat women, or actually, the problem is women are too mean to men, you're not nice enough to them, and that if women weren't so mean, men would start to care and they would actually listen to us. So therefore, all the oppression and violence that women face is actually their own fault. And often they say this purely because it's women talking about men's behaviour. And it's not even being nasty. We're just making observations that we often back up with data and actual research that they don't like. And it really reminds me of this post. Sometimes people use respect to mean treating someone like a person. And sometimes they use respect to mean treating someone like an authority. And sometimes people who are used to being treated as an authority say, if you won't respect me, I won't respect you. And they mean, if you won't treat me like an authority, I won't treat you like a person. And they think they're being fair, but they aren't. When women talk about men's behaviour in a way that men don't like, i.e. it threatens their ego or their self-image, they view it as a challenge to their authority. And because they view women as an accessory to making men look good, for example, trophy wives or men who surround themselves with models to elevate their social status, anything that does not pursue that aim needs to be shut down immediately. Why? Because it threatens the status quo and their power within it.
Respect isn't imposed, it's earned. Men don't care if you reject them or leave them. What they don't like is when you try to humiliate them. A polite response doesn't cause problems. What's irritating is getting insulted just for being a man. Or the typical feminist narrative that the white patriarchal man is the one oppressing them, like he's the root of all evil. And then you've got trophy women. They're not looking for a man with money because they want to work hard or build a life together. They're looking to be exactly that, a trophy. They get everything handed to them and only have to provide children. They forget that it's women who choose the man they want to be with. But that choice comes with responsibility. And responsibility is kryptonite for women.
For most women, there is no benefit to marriage, okay? Even statistics show this. Married women die sooner. They have more health issues. For most women, it's going to be a lose-lose situation when you decide that you are going to get married. If you are trying to get married, the only way marriage makes sense is if you are logistical. Most women are not logistical. Most women just want love. That's all they care about. You must be logistical if you're going to get married. You need to write up a prenup. I cannot believe that there are women that get upset about a man asking them for a prenup when you also can write up a prenup. Put a cheating clause in there. Men are guaranteed to cheat. You might as well have some monetary reimbursement for them cheating. So put a cheating clause in there. And as long as you have proof of him cheating, you are granted X amount of money in the prenuptial agreement. He needs to be a man that actually has something, right? He can give you land, a rental property, a home, something monetary so that dealing with him makes sense to you. But marriage for love should never be on the table. It should never be a reason why you would ever want to get married, because that's not real. So yeah, marry rich, protect yourself, and get some form of reimbursement for a man being a man.
I'll give her credit when it comes to the prenup, but even if you explain all the advantages to a woman, she still doesn't want to get married. And here's an interesting fact. 50% of marriages end in divorce, and 80% of those divorces are filed by women. You know what the statistic is when there's a prenup involved? 15%. What does that tell you? That a woman is less eager to get divorced when she knows she can't walk away with the bag. She fights harder for her marriage when money is off the table. But of course, they don't like prenups because they scream for equality until you give them real equality with separate assets. They hate going 50-50 on dates and expenses, but when it comes to divorce, they love it.
Women.
I mean, y'all, they literally had us out here waxing, shaving, tanning, dieting, exercising, smiling, just so we would attract a man, so we could keep men in power on the backs of the lifelong emotional, mental, and physical labor of women. They literally had us out here believing there was no other fulfilling life than to get married to a man and have children, that there was no other way to have worth or experience a fulfilling life besides shackling yourself as a slave to a man. They really had us convinced. And look at all the industries that capitalize off of that. Makeups, cosmetics, fitness. The list goes on. This might be the biggest scam of all.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Interesting. Now look into consumer habits, and you'll see that single women are the biggest consumers of everything. They carry the most credit card debt, student loans, and mortgages. Check the stats. Even women with high salaries are still living below the poverty line. But of course, the single woman is the happiest person in the world. Meanwhile, a woman living in a home with a man has someone who handles the finances, helps maintain the household, allows her to be a mother, takes care of her when she's sick, or supports her if she loses her job. And somehow, according to them, that's the greatest oppression in the world. Misery loves company. It's a hard truth when no one's ever truly loved you.
I want to talk about this comment right here because I get this comment all the time on my videos. I see it all the time in other women's videos, especially when they're talking about things that their partners do or that they hope that they change. And for me in particular, it's typically around the mental load and navigating a home together. And I share little stories about how we have shifted the dynamics in our relationships to be more equitable and fair. And I always find this comment so funny because I said that my husband used to use me like a personal reminders list. Like he would ask me to remind him of things all the time. And this person's like, why did you even marry him? Well, the obvious answer to why I married him was because he was a kind, thoughtful person who I loved spending time with and still do, right? That's why I married him. And maybe I should have had a conversation with him in our 20s about not using me like a personal reminders app. But here's the thing. We all come to relationships and marriage with different upbringings and understandings of what it looks like to be a person and a parent and a partner. And we have all had different things modeled for us along the way. And unfortunately, especially here in the US, but in many different places, men were not raised to carry the mental load or to show up in relationships in the same way that women were. They just simply were not. And I have a partner who is able and willing to adjust and change. When I come to him and say, hey, this is frustrating, he changes. And that's why I married him. I married him because he's a kind, thoughtful person who wants to have a relationship that is thriving. He doesn't come to me and say, absolutely not, I'll never do that, never, no way. He says, oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was adding to your mental load by asking you to remind me. I will just use the reminders app going forward. Look at that. That's why I married him, because he's a kind, thoughtful person, and it's not that hard to have these conversations. And in so many different relationships, I have found myself throughout my life in friendships and with my own family saying, hey, can we adjust the way we're doing this? Like, it's not working for me, and I don't think it's working for you either. Can we adjust it? And guess what? We do. I think that's the part about being a person that people don't get. Like, you can evolve, you can change, you can be better. And if you just write people off constantly, like, we get nowhere, right? Like, we're screaming from the rooftops about a male loneliness epidemic and how boys are struggling and men are struggling. And then people will be like, well, just leave him behind. Just leave him behind. And like, I get the urge. Believe me, I get the urge to just leave them behind. But I'm raising a son, and I hope that one day if somebody's dating him and he's doing something they don't love, that they can come to him and he's going to listen to them and absorb that and take that in and maybe adapt, maybe change, and maybe show up differently next time. I hope for all of us that we can look at each other as people and and not just a checklist. Because unfortunately, no matter what in a relationship, even if you think on paper you have the best person in the whole world as your partner, I guarantee you along the way you're going to say, hey, I don't love the way you're doing this, or I don't love how we communicated that. Like, can we change? And I wish for all of us that we can have the capacity for that, to have these conversations, and to have compassion for one another, and to grow together.
Here she comes with the male loneliness epidemic, the biggest nonsense ever invented. Mathematically, it makes no sense. In a country where there are nearly 7 million more women than men, it's only logical that if there are lots of single men, like she claims, there should be 3 times as many single women. That's just basic math, my math. Another thing, the so-called mental load, is nothing more than doing things for her husband. I guarantee you, if that woman leaves that man, he'll bounce back quickly. Beyond what she does for the kids, everything she did as a wife will lose its meaning fast. Because truthfully, that man never got any real help from her. His life would be the same with or without her. And the worst part? I've seen other videos where she doesn't even make dinner or do his laundry. That tells you everything. He won't be hurt by losing her because she's not essential in any way. And the most ironic part is, he's the one supporting her completely because they live in his house.
Women.
I'm literally obsessed with this comment. So Libby Kitty made a comment that explains so much. I've made other videos on this subject matter, but I want to expand on it based on this comment. The patriarchy let unfit men reproduce because women couldn't survive without them. For centuries, women had to attach themselves to whoever could provide for them, even if he was emotionally immature, violent, uneducated, abusive, or completely unfit to parent. Because without him, she would have no money, no land, no safety, and no options. So patriarchy didn't just disempower women, it artificially elevated men who otherwise would have been left behind in nature. This system created generations of fathers who were never emotionally equipped to lead. And now women have options. Women can say no. Women don't have to choose survival over sanity anymore. And the system is cracking under the weight of that shift. And this isn't about hating men. It's about no longer being forced to choose from the worst of them. It isn't a crisis. It's a correction. And it's long overdue.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
The very patriarchy they criticize is the one that gave them the ground they walk on today. It provided structure, security, and even the opportunity to thrive. Without that system, many would have never had a voice or a vote. And whether they like it or not, it was thanks to men that they now enjoy even the freedom to insult them. The narrative that patriarchy oppressed leaves out a key fact. It allowed women to have a home, a family, and stability in times when options were extremely limited. Today, they flaunt independence, but they live in a system built and sustained by men. And while they speak of freedom, the numbers tell a different story. Wealth is being lost because marriage has been destroyed. In the past, a couple built a legacy together. Today, most men who leave something behind either never got married or survived divorce.
You know, it's funny because you guys preach decentering men, but then the second you start talking to one, suddenly you're figuring out all the ways to how to detach and how to like space out the time texting him back and how to not care and how to make him obsessed. It's like, guys, you want to make him obsessed? You want to make him obsessed? You want to not give a fuck? You don't do anything. There's no secret formula. It's just being yourself and not doing anything. If you feel like texting him, fucking text him. And when I say by not doing anything, it's like you're not trying to play games. It's kind of like, well, if he's interested, then I can just be myself. And then, you know, like, it's meant to be. Like, there's no, like, rules. It's kind of like I do my own thing. If you fuck with it, amazing, great. But if not, then we're good. You know, that's decentering men. It's not, let's play this game and, like, let's, how do I... Embarrassing! Embarrassing! Okay, embarrassing.
Absolutely true. Most of these women say one thing and then do the opposite. Just look at the famous 4B movement, which was supposed to be a major force today, especially after Trump won. The most radical ones even shaved their heads to show rebellion. And the result? They ended up looking ridiculous. No movement, no consistency, and in the end, no partner. Because reality always hits harder than the narrative. Sooner or later, they come back looking for what they claim to hate.
Is everyone going through a breakup right now? I feel like I have so many friends who have just turned 30 and they're either going through a breakup or a divorce or something crazy. And it's interesting because I actually got my divorce 2 weeks after I turned 30. And I remember being like, oh my God, I'm 30 and getting a divorce. But what really helped me during that time was hearing people's stories who are on the other side of like a divorce or a heartbreak, something that like you think you're never going to get over and then you do. That's what got me through it. So I want to share my story with you because 3 years ago today, I met my boyfriend and my life was like completely changed. So before I met him, I got my divorce at the end of, or my separation at the end of 2018. And then shortly after that, I reconnected with somebody from college and we had like a 2.5-year situationship. And it's funny because the divorce like was hard, but the situationship ending was so much worse. And it's funny because it reminds me of the Tortured Poets Department. You know, Taylor wrote this entire album about this situationship and had like 1 or 2 songs about the 6-year relationship in her life. Like that's kind of how I felt. So I actually ended up moving to Colorado because this man asked me to move and I was like, okay. I moved and he dumped me after a week. It was less than a week. It was crazy. And I was fucking heartbroken. And I was like, okay, where do I go now? Both of my sisters live in Austin. So I was like, I'm just going to go hang out in Austin for a while and see if I want to move here. I got to Austin. I absolutely loved it. And I remember it was August of 2021. I wrote this list. I wrote a list of everything I was looking for in a partner. And then I also wrote how I wanted this relationship to make me feel. Then in March 2022, I matched with this guy on a dating app and he was from Chino Hills, California, which is right next door to where I grew up. And I just was like, oh my gosh, this guy has like a kind face and I'm just like so interested in him. And then on March 18th, we actually had plans on Saturday, but the Friday before March 18th, he was like, hey, I know we have plans on Saturday and we can keep those plans, but I'm out with my friend and do you want to like meet up with us?
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
Your story doesn't sound like a tough divorce. It sounds like you jumped from one man to another without stopping. You got divorced, didn't heal, and shortly after were already in another relationship. You moved from city to city chasing guys, like a backpacker in love. And the most ironic part, you never explain what you lived on. Was it from your own job, or from the 50% you took from your first husband? That part never gets mentioned. The narrative is that you started from scratch, but in reality, you walked away with capital fronted by a man. It's not like you started with nothing. But let's keep listening to your story about how, once again, you were getting to know yet another man.
I normally would have said no and just stuck to the plan, but I just like got a wild hair and I was like, sure. And when I first saw him, I just had this insane attraction to him. It was like deeper than just like physical attraction. Like the more we talked, the more I was like, I want to consume every word out of this person's mouth. Like we talked for so long and I just was like transfixed by him. And then we hung out the next day too. And I just remember being like, wow, this chemistry is insane. Like, does he feel this chemistry too? And it turns out he did, but it wasn't like such a quick relationship. It took us a while to become official. It was probably like 6 months before we were exclusive, which was kind of torturous, especially with like how much I liked him. But I also felt this like weird sense of calm too, because he always showed up. He was always super honest with me. And I just like knew it was going to work out. Like I can't explain it. I was anxious, but also calm. Looking back, I'm actually glad the way we did it because I feel like we really got to know each other and built a really strong foundation before we jumped in too quickly. I feel like a lot of the times when you have such intense chemistry with somebody, you just want to dive like head first into the relationship. And then you're so intimate with somebody and then you kind of look around and you're like, wait, I don't even really know you. I'm just so beyond grateful for this relationship because it is happy, it is light, it is peaceful, it is everything that I feel like love should be. And Nick is just such a great person. He's happy, he's kind, he's fucking funny, he's smart, he's creative, he's just everything and more I could have asked for. I would take getting divorced and every single heartbreak I've ever experienced a million times over to be where I am now. So I hope that you find some sort of hope in that if you're going through a breakup or a divorce too. Because if I didn't experience all the divorce, all the heartbreak, whatever, I wouldn't be the person that I am in this relationship now. And I feel like I'm such a better partner. I wouldn't be like this if I didn't go through what I went through. So I hope that you find some hope in that.
You had to divorce one guy, move in with the first Chad you met, who later dumped you, only to end up with another guy you met a few months later, moving to another city. And you tell it like it's some kind of inspirational story. What's the moral here? Keep jumping from man to man until the right one shows up? Because honestly, when did you ever take a break? You literally just kept looking for someone else. Chances are, that first Chad was already in the picture before your divorce. But hey, brothers, don't mourn anyone, because they never mourn you.
Just so you know how beneficial marriage is for men, they get married immediately after a divorce or after they lose their wives. In less than 6 months. 99% of them just get married again. Women, on the other hand, they don't get married again. If they lose their husbands or if they get a divorce, 90% of them don't get married again. Both my grandmothers, when they lost their husbands, they didn't get married again. And they weren't grandmothers yet. They were still very much in their youth. But men just immediately, they get married again. Immediately. As a matter of fact, they already know who they're going to replace the wife with. Women might get married for love, but men get married for your labor. And that's why that married man that you're having an affair with will never leave his wife, because free labor. Like, why would he leave that for you? It's just a side piece. You'll never be able to take on all that workload that his wife takes on. So why would he leave that for you? Like, what? Be so fucking for real.
Stop it. Get some help.
Brother, what does your grandmother or the women in your family never remarrying have to do with the patriarchy? If your product isn't moving, that doesn't make it a statistic. The truth is, a lot of men are good husbands who end up with terrible wives. And chances are, another woman will see their value and hold on to them. That's what really bothers them. If you doubt it, I can guarantee that more than one divorced man has gotten a call from his ex-wife months, or even years later, trying to rekindle something. That happens when she can't find a better man than you. Many leave their husbands for the thrill, and when they realize they're not as marketable as they were when they were younger, they start wanting to go back. Or have we forgotten that a big chunk of divorces come from absurd reasons, like a woman saying she's bored? Responsibility is kryptonite for women.
Women.
The thing that you are so desperate to do, get married. I'm going to prove to you why that is rooted in patriarchy, and it shouldn't be something that you so want to do so badly. How many of you have heard the term, I now pronounce you man and wife after two people get married? That is very commonly used and is still used today, and that was actually the original term when two people got married. Now, I want you to pay close attention to that terminology. They say, I now pronounce you man, the man, and wife. Wife is not an individual. A wife is not a woman. A wife is a role in relation to a man. A wife isn't seen as her own individual being. That woman is referred to as how she relates to her husband. That is why a woman changes her name, because she was seen as the property of the man. That is why she couldn't work. That's why she couldn't have a bank account, because she was seen as his property. And that is why they say, I now pronounce you man and wife. Now, if you want to get married, that's fine. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but I want to open your eyes as to the origins of marriage. And to all those dusty dudes out there who are going to be in the comments saying, oh my God, who hurt you? Why would you say such a thing? I don't need to be hurt to debunk patriarchy. And by the way, I can get married anytime I want. I've had plenty of proposals. I choose not to get married, dusty ass dudes. So don't even go on that train. I just want to educate my queen ladies as to why marriage is not the ultimate goal.
Proposal about as much as I believe the stories most mothers tell about leaving the rich guy for the poor man who became your father. Women like that never bring any value. They don't get married, they don't build a family, and then they start sharing the only thing they know, their misery. Because, as far as I know, the phrase goes, I now pronounce you husband and wife. It's a term used to show that you have a formal partner in front of the world. But of course, that doesn't sit well with her. Since she's always wanted to live like a single woman while enjoying the benefits of a relationship, the very idea of showing respect to a real bond bothers her. She's on the wall now, and the wall doesn't forgive. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. Who do you think benefits from marriage? Do you think the modern woman is incapable of understanding what it means to be in a real partnership? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from The Wall.